Welcome back and thank you for staying with us right here on Morning at NTV with me, Romeo Busiku. Election Watch is in your midst. And our next guests are newcomers to the NRM parliamentary race and also the way the party conducts affairs. Today we intend to look at whether they can be embraced by a party that values the traditional way of doing things, valuing its historicals as well as those who toe the line. Yes, those who... I'll stay this side. As long as you do not step on the toes of the chairman, you are good to go. So with me in studio, I do have Professor Venantius Baramureva and Deogracius Musimenta. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me right now on Morning at NTV.
Thank you for having us.
So talk to us in your respective capacities. Why are you opting to run this time round? I'm going to start with you, Musimenta.
Okay. Good morning, viewers. I'm Musimenta Deogracius from Buyamba constituency, Lakai district. Of course, I'm a health services researcher. I do research. I've traveled places in the country, so I know the gaps, be it in livelihoods, let it be in education, let it be in health. So basically, when you look at Lakai specifically, when we are following maybe the UDHS reports, which is done by UBOS, you see that if we are talking about education in Lakai, really it is one of the least performing districts in the country. Because based on the reports I see, or I always read, the percentage of children 6 to 12 years, they are 6 to 12 years who are not in school, especially in sub-county specific, because I have Ramagwa, I have Kasankara, I have Dwaniro, I have Kachera, and Kagamba. So when you look at Ramagwa, it is 16.3%. When you go to Kachera, that is 18.5%. So at the end of the day, if we include also Ramagwa, Kagamba is 20.4 and the Dwan is 21.3. So when you look at education in Rakai, it is worrying.
Yes, we did a story here on NTV.
It is worrying. And government has programs. You start with loan scheme. Loan scheme is there. There is the district quota system. There is UPE. There is the secondary education. So all those are programs to make sure that these rural people or people in the Lakai, they can benefit from government programs. So when you look at that education alone, you see there are a lot of gaps. When you look at performance, there's what we call short-term hunger, especially in school-going children. You can see that these children, they don't perform well because there's that component of short-term hunger. When these children, they go to school, they don't eat. That's why I remember I got involved in a multi-sector food security assessments in the country, and I was in Kamuli. At least there are some school garden model. That's why I had to say now, let me go back to Rakai and I see what is there. There's nothing taking place. Office of Prime Minister has those programs, the school feeding programs, chaired by OPM and also Minister of Health and Minister of Education, because it is a multi-sector approach. So I'm trying to see how we can develop the place. So using government programs.
And what are you going to be doing? What are you going to be doing different? So because I understand the incumbent is NRM. You're coming from the NRM.
Of course.
So what are you going to be doing different?
That's why I'm here, to show the gaps. Because if you've been in parliament for 10 years and everything is disorganized in the district, be it education, that's because all these programs are there to benefit the people equitably. It's a national cake.
If the incumbent was, maybe FDC would say that maybe they're not getting that access to resources, but it's the NRM. If this person wasn't getting the resources, how best are you assured that you'll be getting the same resources to do the same?
You see, what we need to be very open here on the TV is there's government or parliament also needs people to present issues or problems which the rural people are facing. It's not about keeping quiet in parliament, on the floor of the parliament, either NRM or FDC or which party. You have to present problems of the people. That's why the government is even looking back at barazas. So before going that side, in the other issues, education alone, I try to write a concept to Operation Recreation, NADS, Minister of Agriculture, and say, look, education is alarming in this district. Can we do something?
What about the issue of health?
That's why I'm going to. But in education, that's why I tried to lobby for 4 tons of seedlings, so that these people can grow and have food.
Okay, before
and we cover issues of food security.
Let's cover the health aspect, then we go to Professor Venantius Baramureva.
When we got health aspects, health facilities, they have a distance, 5 kilometers and above. So now you see my mother like in Chituntu, walking up to Buyamba Center 3. It's quite a distance. Remember, we have emerging diseases, NCDs. Those are non-communicable diseases, hypertension, blood pressure, heart failure, and other community illnesses. Malaria is high. The prevalence of malaria. So yes. When you see such occurrences, especially in health, now we have to say, what is the plan B? Is primary care grant coming on time? Maybe to support the sub-counties or health facilities within those sub-counties.
All right, hold that thought.
So all those are the gaps in Rakai district.
All right, hold that thought, Mr. Musimenta. Let's also bring in Professor Venantius Baramureva.
Yes.
Why are you opting to run for parliament this time round?
You know, by training and by practice, if you look at the roles of a member of parliament, that is registration, providing oversight to government programs, appropriation, consulting the constituents, bringing their views to parliament. These are roles that can play very well. But what is more interesting to me is that link where you kill two birds with one stone, where I'm now able also to participate in community transformation. And that's what many of the people in the villages, in the communities want. They actually don't understand the roles in parliament. They want you to do community work. So I realized that Uganda is one of the places that is very organized. We have like, organized groups. And the first organized groups right from the very, very beginning are religious institutions. They're always organized. Now, even in Uganda, we have what we call interreligious council. So these are communities that you can work with to transform the community. We also have organized youth and women groups. We have also organized like people like who are kind of in circles and so on. So also at the district level, we have what the government calls the Myoga kind of programs where the municipality gives money for youth livelihood, women groups and so on. So I felt that with my expertise, with my connections, my networks, I can actually work with the communities in Uganda to really transform the community. And for me, what is so critical and so important is about like continuity or sustainability. Even if I do it for 5 years, with them, I have built capacity in them, and they can continue with those programs. And one of the things I decided to do, which I'm going to do anyway, because the people have assured me they're taking me to parliament, so I'll give them 100% of my salary and all my emoluments. They will go to the constituency to support those programs. They're not for eating, but just go into those programs that are going to kind of uplift the lives of the people within Uganda municipality.
Maybe my viewers did not catch that. Professor Venantius Baramureva plans to give up 100% of his salary to the constituents.
Including the money even for their car. Even that will go.
Totally in there.
No way.
We've seen one too many times.
Professor doesn't lie. You see,
and in terms of health, what do you plan to do for them?
You see, that's the other element. When you look at Uganda municipality, their programs should be done by government. Like if you're looking at roads, clean water, you're looking at health services, I'm going to work with the government to ensure that those services are uplifted. But at the same time, in the area of health, as part of the salary I'm giving to the district, we are going to use about 100 million shillings to train more nurses, because the nurses are the ones who are within the communities all over the place. So I want to ensure they are well trained, so that even when somebody wants to deliver, they have somebody next door to assist them, with deliveries and so on. Then the other sector is education. When you educate people, actually they become healthy. Now, if you look at the standards within Uganda, they are not good. So as somebody who's an expert in education, I want to work with the communities to ensure that within the next 5 years, all teachers in both primary and secondary schools have degrees. We are going to train them from Uganda University. And part of the money that I intend to give to the district, which I'm going to give to the district, is for training teachers at Uganda Second. I'm going to give them 500 million for that purpose. Because you see, if you don't train the teachers, then you can never raise the standards. So it's something I feel I should do, and I'm going to do with the community. And for me, I feel this would be some kind of what you call fundamental transformation within Uganda municipality.
Well, I 100% agree with that argument when you say that there's a correlation between information and improving people's lives, health-wise.
Yes.
Because even in the coronavirus pandemic, you have countries that have low information on COVID-19 having high cases, and those with high information being prevalent among the population actually having low cases, because people know what to do. If I'm going to get sick, I can treat the symptoms and I'll be better. But
even contact tracing becomes much easier.
It becomes easier, and the people themselves can police themselves and the communities. But we're not going to get into the COVID-19 aspect.
Yes,
let's talk about Parliament. Musimenta, do you believe Parliament is a place that can actually bring about idealistic change for socio-economic progress?
Okay, thank you so much. So before answering that, as I've been informing you, in Rakai we have 87.6 people or youths who are studying, but they never completed senior 4. So the point is, where are they going to be? What are they doing exactly? That's why now we have to let the population know that there are government programs like this newly intervened program of skilling youth. That's why I had to say, please, youths, come on board and also benefit on this national cake. So those are the issues we need to inform the people, to tell people, look, these are government programs, to be not barring people, not going for barriers, like you a master of barring people. No, let's just inform people that government has programs to benefit all of us, especially on the national cake. So you're talking of, you can help me repeat the question for the Parliament?
Do you believe Parliament is the place to make idealistic change to bring about socio-economic development?
I believe so, but you see, with especially this monetized politics, that's why they say maybe the one with a lot of money is one who just enters Parliament, which is not the issue. Parliament is to discuss issues that affect the population, to make sure we make a robust change, improve livelihoods, health, and other issues. So me, I believe that somebody who is educated, who is an articulate and know the population, really can come on the floor of Parliament and discuss, not about coming to Parliament and you keep quiet 5 years, another 5 years you're quiet. We've never said like in the reports I read, the New Vision, my MP, they said he has never said anything on the floor of Parliament for 10 years. So I'm asking myself, all these challenges in Rakai, in Buyamba, roads from Lumbugu to Liantonde, people pay 1,000 to be lifted to access a health facility, to cross and go to Rakai District Hospital. So even I've been there. I ask myself, if you've been in the Parliament, can't you present these issues? Health, go to education, scholarships are there, programs are there to help the 1 inches down. Can't you bring these issues on floor Parliament? Let's go on livelihoods.
So that means Parliament cannot bring about idealistic change if the people inside there are not speaking up on behalf of the people.
So actually, me, my worry is one, because I don't believe whether NRM ideology is to go on Parliament and we keep quiet. I don't believe so. I myself, I met His Excellency. The whole issue is socio-economic transformation. So how can we do that? I was with a team from Makerere University. How can we do that? We talk on floor Parliament. We prioritize.
Something we haven't been
seeing. Yes.
But why does that keep happening?
I think in Uganda bagambo kulondo omuntu ow'ekibogwe. Because even I'm not talking here on my MP, because I'm talking facts. 2016, he was ousted from Parliament for education issues. You're getting? So at the end of the day, we need the people to bring issues on the floor of Parliament that affects the people. Because at the end of the day, this population, especially the rural people, they are the one creates a large tax base. That's why we get taxes. So if we don't talk on programs or on issues that affects them or that can give them hope, that means you need to wait till you organize yourself and maybe you learn from others.
What are your thoughts on that, Professor Venantius Baramureva? Parliament being that place that can offer change in relation to socio-economic progress?
Definitely, Parliament in terms of registration, in terms of oversight, even appropriation, it can really cause that kind of change. Of course, as a member of Parliament, we also have to consult the people. Now, most of the people, are rural, subsistence farmers.
You have to consult the people.
Yes.
I'll get you on that. Continue.
Yes. So we have to ensure that whatever laws will come, that we register on and they're in place, they really cause a positive impact on the rural people, because they are the majority. And of course, the other thing is the issue with the markets, value chains, and so on. And that's why, for me, I feel that we need more of the people in the private sector to join Parliament. Because when you have them there, they can also influence the policy, create an enabling environment. Like in this period of COVID, many people have produced, they have been producing, but they have no markets. You find somebody who's producing tomatoes now, is selling them at a tenth of the price they used to sell them at, because there's no market, So to me, really, through Parliament, we can do a lot to transform the lives of the people, the ordinary people. And but you also must understand, we must have that kind of what is it you want to transform within the community. Like me now, I really want to ensure that in the next 5 years, all these rural farmers, who are into agriculture, are transformed, their income goes up, their livelihoods are improved and so on. You want to look at the level of education, their children are well educated. You want to ensure that health-wise they are okay, they have clean water, all that. So you can do it through Parliament to ensure that when you are appropriating money for various districts, when you are doing oversight for how that money is being utilized in the communities, when you're looking at the new legislation or amended legislation you're coming up with, is really geared towards, like it's pro-people, basically.
Do you think these laws aren't working or aren't favoring the people simply because they are not consulted, like you mentioned before?
Yes and no. You know, there are some laws that may be, you know, when a law is there.
Because you mentioned consulting the people, and
yes, I'll give an example.
I wanted to take you back to 2017 age limit, but I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to politicize the conversation. But no one was actually talked to. The people of Uganda were not talked to before the removal of age limit. You get that. And we are saying drafting legislations that help the people.
Yes, you know, that is, you know, when you talk about talking to the people, you remember people are given money to go to the consensus and consult the people. Well, those are the views they brought to Parliament is another issue. But the people were consulted.
No, they consulted a small cabal of people within their group.
Every MP,
they consulted people in their strongholds.
Yes, every MP was free to consult.
Yes.
But going back to the issue of whether, if you consult, don't consult, I said it's either way.
Whether laws can work.
Yes, because you see, the law is as good as its implementers.
Yes.
I'll give an example. If you look at, let's say, maybe the law governing higher education institutions, it is the same law, but you'll find different institutions will implement it differently, depending on their capabilities. So even you can turn a slightly bad law into good law, if you're good at implementation. So to me, even with some of the laws we have, even without amendments, if you have a good MP, that MP can actually deliver within the constituency and ensure his people's lives are uplifted. Yeah. But having said that, we still need to have serious amendments. I know there are several laws where we need to make serious amendments. And personally, somebody has been involved in a lot of policy in terms of consulting and so on. I'm really good at that.
And of course, amendments were made and passed by Parliament, the Presidential, Electoral Commission, the Parliamentary Amendment Act. They were all passed by Parliament, but then we are still waiting for the President to assent to those. I'm going to get you on that.
Yes.
Let me bring in Musimenta and we talk about the burgeoning Parliament. In the next Parliament, we are going to be talking about 523 legislators. That's a very, very big number, and the burden is going to be borne on the taxpayer. So we are saying some feel that Parliament is really drained on the economy and feel like this money should be diverted either to the health sector, education, roads, and so forth, infrastructure development. What do you make of that?
Okay, thank you so much. To me, my submission is one. There's what called value for money. Okay, so the voters, what they need is value for money. They are taxes. It's not about actually the number. If we try to bring in the issue of numbers, I think there we go wrong. The point is, can somebody equitably access education? Can Kabong share on the national cake? Can Buyamba, where I'm coming from, where I'm going to contest from, can they have, can they know maybe NADS can give heifers to us and we benefit? You're getting? Can legislators maybe design laws that are pro people or pro people who are poor still? So those are all issues. So what we need is maybe to look at is, are these programs helping the people to develop, to have hope that, you know, I have hope that tomorrow I will have food on the table, my children will go to school. So all those, to me, I don't want to talk much on issue of numbers because that is at a strategic level.
Indeed.
I'm not in Parliament as of now. Maybe I don't know why.
But you're going there.
I'm going there to represent issues that affect Rakai and the Buyamba constituency and also benefit the rest of the country.
But you believe we should divert that money to health, education, and other sectors?
As a health services researcher, of course, we do priority setting. So we need to see as a country, where is the burden? Is it in roads? Is it in health? Is it in education? Is it in livelihoods? So there we can prioritize and say, look, maybe for this year, let's try to cut short budget for health or for roads, then maybe put into livelihoods so that we empower these people who are poor. Because at the end of the day, these are the people where we are taxing. These are people who pay taxes so that we a little bit reduce on donor dependency.
Of course,
you're getting me?
Of course, Mr. Professor Venantius Baramureva, when we talk about the burgeoning number of parliamentarians in the August House, they're talking about the creation of new constituencies, which is going to bear a very, very huge burden on our taxpayers. So the issue is, should we divert this money to health, education, and other sectors? And before you answer that, let me take you back to the other question. The president hasn't assented to the electoral reforms. will that actually offer an unleveled ground?
You know, the Constitution provides for that. You cannot force the president to assent to the bill. If 30 days elapse, you know, Parliament can send it back, and if it goes back 3 times, then it becomes law. So it's up to Parliament to do that. But I think the president at some point is going to assent to that bill. At the right time, he's going to assent to it. But now, you know, this country, I think...
But if we go into this election without the amendments, what would that mean to the election
I don't think
process?
it will happen.
You don't think the
going to
president
assent to
will...
it.
Okay.
He's going to assent to
But
it.
if it doesn't, let's look at that scenario.
If he doesn't, you know, the president is advised by lawyers. He knows his game plan. And you see, that's why many people have been asking the president for almost 35 years now, tell us of your name a successor. But, you know, you have to understand where somebody's headed. And like we've been talking about transitions. You've talked about the parliament like becoming larger and larger.
Yes, yes.
And, you know, it started with the creation of districts. The districts were created, and you realize what they achieved.
Yes.
You know, when you have a smaller parliament, it's very, very hard to get 2/3.
And now we are accusing people for creating these districts.
Yes, and when people started rejecting districts, we stopped. But you remember that parliament, actually, if it wasn't that big, would not have had the age limit lifted. You remember the parliament of
yes, yes, I see where you're going. I see where you're going.
Yes, so now I see this. People are now anxious to get cities, which is a good thing. But again, we are going to spend money on the members of parliament, but it's a good thing because it's going to provide the transition. I want you to look at the nominees for the president he's been sending to parliament. Many of them, parliament has been resisting them. And using my own knowledge and the experience, for me, I see that the next 10 years, the president is finally going to name a successor. And the successor may not be somebody you are comfortable with. So he needs these numbers, 2/3, to approve that successor, which is a good thing, because all these things we do, you have an aim. So, you know, let me tell you something. When I see people clamoring for this bigger parliament, yes, it is coming in.
But is that feasible in a democracy? An incumbent choosing a successor?
You know, democracy depends on how you define it. If you look at America, it's about numbers. So if people are clamoring for numbers, then you are giving somebody flexibility. And I think the president should have that flexibility, you know, to, for example, say, I want this one as my prime minister, I want this one as my vice president, and be able to do it. But if you look at, even at the last nominees for cabinet, you see some of them were being rejected, but finally had to accept them. Remember when you first nominated soldiers into parliament? Into cabinet, and people said, no, they can't. But they finally accepted. So I think this, in the next 10 years, you're going to see the transition you've been waiting for.
All right, let me also bring in Musimenta. Musimenta, why do you think you'll be able to clinch the support of your party, which prefers, you know, people who do not toe the line?
You see, with the socio-economic transformation, we need to leave politics of propaganda, and then go to politics of hope. I, Musimenta Degracious, as a youth, I have programs, or I have ideas I can table on the floor of parliament that affects people across.
So you're sure you'll get the backing of the NRM party? It's
not about getting backing of the party, because right now the party doesn't say Musimenta go and be our flag bearer. Go and talk to people, convince them. If they can really see hope in you, they will send you as our flag bearer.
You're an idealistic leader.
Yes, please.
The NRM banks on historicals.
Yes.
So what we are saying, will they nominate you an idealistic leader? Is the NRM open to idealistic leaders? Or are they still banking on the historicals, those who went to the bush?
I don't think that, because if it means those who went to the bush, I didn't go to the bush. I'm not a bushman, I'm not a what. So, me, actually, I think NRM is open to everybody. Yeah. As a youth or older, everybody is welcome in NRM. I'm not a spokesperson for NRM, but what I know, that's why even I'm here.
All right. If you go through, how best do you plan to navigate the primary campaigns and the consequent campaigns later?
Right now we have, of course, the COVID pandemic.
So you're talking about budget
campaigns. It is really a very big problem. And these scientific campaigns, of course, people need to, what my people are saying, we need to see how the issues you are articulating to us. For example, in Uganda, few people have radios. Like TV, it is like even below 1%. So you see, those are all issues that really we need to check, the party need to consider. They need to say, maybe if, like for example, I for one I was in Rakai when we are distributing masks. So why, if people got masks, why can't they gather maybe in a playground and people express what they are going to do for people.
Okay.
Not about buying them with 500, 200, like people are sharing money now, 200, 300. Then
and many people would think maybe that's what the incumbent did. You cannot be in parliament for 10 years, you're not saying a word, but then you voted the second time. Was that commercialization of politics? Kid kidogo, do something for me, I do something for you. And quid pro quo. Let me also bring in Professor Venantius Baramureba. Tell us, why do you think the NRM will back you instead of the historicals? And how do you intend to navigate the campaign?
This thing of historicals maybe is in the media. Because if you look at, let's say, the army, most of the historicals are not in the army anymore. And even in parliament, look at the members of parliament. We have so many MPs below the age of 45. I'm now 51. So those are not historicals. And NRM has been transforming really. So it is a transformed institution or a transformed party. So to me, it's all about coming in to complement what is happening. But I can assure you that I'm NRM, and I think NRM really believes in me as a person, and I believe in NRM, and I think it will be good to. I'm good to go.
Finally, the virtual campaigns are underway in the primaries and the main campaigns. How do you plan to navigate both?
Well, I've already started. Even after here, I'm now going to Uganda. The virtual campaigns, we do it on radio. You meet people. Not like.
Aren't you worried about the cost and so forth?
Of course, everything comes with a cost.
Yes.
But when people believe in you, if let's say, like in the American system, when you say I'm going to run for this office, people will come up and say we're endorsing you. And when they endorse you, they go ahead and look for you the votes. So I believe that people believe in what I want to do for Uganda. And we are so many in Kampala and even in Uganda who believe in what I want to do. So they will go out there and solicit for the votes with me.
Professor Venantius Baramureba and Mr. Musimenta Deogracius, many thanks for having made the time to speak to us. We look forward to having you again on the show.
Yes.
Most importantly, when you win.
And we shall.
And we shall win, of
Okay,
course.
wish you all the best.
Thank
You're
you.
still watching Morning at NTV. We're discussing a very pertinent issue. Can the NRM be open to idealistic leaders like Mr. Baramureba and Mr. Musimenta? That's the $64,000 question. So let's take a very short break. We'll be right back with more information. Moving a muscle would be a mistake.